It's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I'm going to be going into town later today, so I'm recording this story now so I can download it when I go into town. I don't have any internet, but I can still do this. So I want to read you a pretend story today, but it has a fun little ending. I think you will like it. It's called The Velveteen Rabbit. And this one was originally written by Marjorie Williams. Once there was a Velveteen Rabbit. In the beginning, he was really splendid. His coat was brown and white, and his ears were lined with pink satin. On Christmas morning, he waited in the boy's stocking. For at least 2 hours, the boy loved him. And then in the excitement of looking at all of his new presents, the Velveteen Rabbit was forgotten. For a long time, the Velveteen Rabbit lived in a toy cupboard in the nursery. Some of the more expensive toys snubbed him. The mechanical toys were very superior and pretended that they were real. Only the Skin Horse was kind to the Velveteen Rabbit. The Skin Horse was very wise and had lived longer in the nursery than any of the other toys. "What is real?" the rabbit asked the Skin Horse one day. "Does it mean things that buzz inside you and a stick out to handle? Is that what it means to be real?" "Real isn't how you're made," said the Skin Horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child really loves you, then you become real. I suppose you are real?" asked the Velveteen Rabbit. "The boy's uncle made me real many years ago," the Skin Rabbit said. "Once you are real, it lasts for always." The rabbit sighed. He thought it would be a long time before this magic thing called real happened to him. One evening, the boy couldn't find the toy dog that always slept with him. Nana gave him the Velveteen Rabbit instead. That night, and for many nights after, the Velveteen Rabbit slept in the boy's bed. At first, the rabbit found it rather uncomfortable. Then he grew to like it, for the boy made nice tunnels for him under the blankets. The boy said they were like burrows that real rabbits live in. When the boy dropped off to sleep, the rabbit would snuggle down and he would dream. So time went on. The little rabbit was so happy, he never noticed how his velveteen fur was getting shabbier. His tail was coming unsewn, and the pink was rubbing off his nose. He didn't notice. Once the rabbit was left out on the lawn until long after dusk. Nana had to go and look for him because the boy couldn't sleep. "Fancy all that fuss for a toy," said Nana. "He isn't a toy," the boy said. "He's real." When the rabbit heard that, he was happy, for he knew that what the Skin Horse had said was at last true. He was real. The boy had said it himself. He was real. Does he look real to you? One summer evening, the rabbit saw two strange beings creep out of the woods. They were rabbits like himself. They must have been made very well, for their seams didn't show, and they changed shapes when they moved. Can you see how one looks different because it's down on all four legs and one is sitting up with two paws up? "Why don't you get up and play with us?" one of them asked. "I don't feel like it," said the Velveteen Rabbit. "Can you hop on your hind legs?" asked the other. I don't want to," said the Velveteen Rabbit. His legs did not really move. One of the rabbits came very close and sniffed. "He hasn't got any hind legs," the furry rabbit called out. "He doesn't smell right. He isn't a rabbit after all. He isn't real." "I am real," said the little rabbit. "The boy said so." Just then the boy ran past. With a flash of white, the two strange rabbits disappeared. For a long time the little rabbit sat still, hoping the two rabbits would come back, but they never returned. Then one day, the boy grew very ill. That means he was very sick. It was a long, weary time, for the boy was too ill to play. But the little rabbits snuggled down patiently and looked forward to the time when they would play like they used to. At last the boy got better. The doctor ordered that all the toys the boys had played with be burned. That was to keep the disease from spreading that the little boy had had. So the rabbit was carried out to the garden. He thought of the skin horse and all that he had said, of what it was like to be loved and become real. What good was it if it all ended like this? A tear, a real tear, trickled down his nose and fell to the ground. It was very sad. Then a strange thing happened. Where the tear had fallen, a flower grew. And out of the flower stepped a fairy. She kissed the little rabbit on his velveteen nose. "Little white rabbit, don't you know who I am?" she asked. It seemed to the rabbit he had seen her face before. "I am the nursery magic fairy," she said. "I take care of all the playthings that children have loved. When the children don't need them anymore, I turn them into real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the little rabbit. "You were real to the boy," the fairy said, "because he loved you. Now you are going to be real to everybody." Everybody. The fairy took the rabbit and flew to the woods. There in a clearing, the wild rabbits danced, but when they saw the fairy, they stopped and they stared at her. "I've brought you a new playmate," the fairy told them. "Be kind to him, for he is going to live with you forever." The little rabbit sat still for a moment. He didn't know that the fairy had kissed him. When she kissed him, he had changed him altogether. Just then something tickled his nose, and he lifted his leg to scratch it. Remember, he didn't have any real legs. Then he found he actually had hind legs. Instead of velveteen, he had brown fur, and his ears twitched. The rabbit gave a great leap, and his joy was so great he went jumping sideways and whirling around as the others did. Look at him, how happy he is. He was a real rabbit at last. In the spring, the boy went out to play. 2 rabbits crept up and peered at him. One of them had strange markings under his fur, as though long ago he had been stuffed. The boy thought, "Why, he looks just like my old bunny." But he never knew that it really was his own bunny who had come back to look at the child who had first helped him become a real rabbit. That's a fun story. Do you have any stuffed toys? Do you have a favorite? When I was a little girl, I had a teddy bear, and I love that teddy bear. It had a little bow tie on its neck, but I would play with that little bow tie so it didn't look too good after a while. But oh, how I loved my teddy bear. Well, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I love you, I really do. I want you to remember, God loves you even more, and He will always love you. All right, bye-bye.